Welcome to the Catch Some SoulShine podcast, and I am your host, Dawn Renee Bova. I'm joined today by Lopari, sorry, who is the CEO of the Life School. Her mission is really important to not only help entrepreneurs, but really to get down to the insides. What makes us want to evolve as people and as entrepreneurs? And I think until you have that down, you can't be successful. So I'm going to let her introduce herself and then we're going to, have some discussion.
Well, thank you so much, Dawn, for having me. It's such a pleasure to be here with you on your podcast. And yeah, I think we share a common mission with the soul piece in the aspect of the work that we both do, where, through the journey of entrepreneurship here at the Life School, which I'm the CEO and founder of, I want to help now more people like me, a future, or I guess a prior version of me that was looking for fulfillment, that had a calling, that has a mission in life, that has a purpose, all these big words that sometimes scare a lot of people. But along the journey, I realized that unless you know what you're working towards, then it's not worth waking up in the morning or even going through some of the challenges that sometimes going out on your own and using the challenge of entrepreneurship as that way for you to do more good in the world and use your experience, your challenges that you've overcome, or even a certain problem that you want to solve in the world. It becomes important that you are purpose driven and you also understand how to also align your profit with that, because I have found that unless you actually do both, then you can't create the impact you desire. You can't reach as many people as you possibly can. You cannot maybe get more people to join your team or to contribute towards causes you care about that are probably outside of your company or vocation. So that is what my mission is. Lifelong student. So life school, I think life teaches you the best lessons, and we always switch roles between a student and a teacher. When we learn something, we want to share it, so we become, I guess, by default the teacher, and then we go back to student mode to learn from other people, and then we switch back and forth between that as we also realize our potential as humans, and put that out there in the world and try to attempt to be fulfilled and be happy and joyous, because I think that is also what we all want, out of life. And these are the models that are offered out there today. And this is kind of what I also feel called to be able to serve, and how I want to create impact.
I love that so much. And, I'm so glad that you brought up the profit piece. I think as women entrepreneurs, especially, I've come across a lot of women that are a little shied away from that profit piece. Maybe we don't know our worth, or we've been told for so long that we're not as valuable. But I really think that to impact the most amount of people, we have to be profitable. And I think it's important that you're teaching that to entrepreneurs. Can you speak a little bit about how you make people more profitable or help them on that way?
Yeah, and I absolutely can relate to, just like you said, absolutely, because us as women, we have more of these nurturing roles, and obviously, traditionally, we don't even know our own power, honestly, our own potential, because again, traditionally, I even come from, the culture where, women were mostly in the home, and, their husbands were out working, and we have evolved and moved along for sure, but we have still a lot of work to do, because there's a very big gap between the income that women get to create and also, our counterparts, right? So I think I've seen it firsthand in the corporate environment when I climbed up the corporate ladder for 13 years before I ventured as an entrepreneur, where I also lacked a lot of that confidence to ask for things that I thought, I was contributing in the company with via my roles, which were very different roles between HR, regional director. I was in executive roles. So, it was a lot of that inner work and personal development work that I needed to do as someone who honored myself. And I I deserved the things that I was working for, and I deserved, to have more in my life, also income wise, not only obviously fulfillment wise. So that is how I now have transferred a lot of that experience into entrepreneurship. When I realized that my own gifts are in leadership and business acumen, those are the two strengths that I carry that I've seen over time. So that now that I realize what those are, and out of all the things that we do, also, I've seen that we undervalue our gifts because it's something that comes naturally to us. We just think like, oh, everybody must know this. So we don't always see, the power in the transformation. So today I do this via what I call the 6 pillars that every company that is a healthy company needs to follow in order for you to align your purpose with profit, which is the branding piece, the marketing piece, the sales aspect, the systems, and then the team. And all of these are sort of like pillars that connect together in your company so that you build that foundation. You have those right pieces in place so that you can align, do work you love, but also, of course, know how to do all the other pieces that align your profit. And then moving on to the two main problems that most entrepreneurs have, which is inconsistent cash flow and sales, inconsistency in their profits. I guess we could term it that way. And the other piece is the impact. Okay, now I've run out of capacity. I am this, whatever I did so far is not necessarily going to get me to the next level. And scalability usually is the next piece, which I love to solve that second problem. Not that I don't like the first one, because that means impact to me, scalability. How can I create more impact with what I am doing? So that is the way I uniquely solve this problem based on my experience and what I've seen with so many people I've had the blessing to work with over the
Yeah.
years.
I think it's so important, and I know speaking for myself, I am a feely, emotional worker. I'm a thought leader. My whole premise is emotional empowerment. So that part of it comes easy to me, right? It's the business part that, I sometimes struggle with. And I'm, like you said, we're constantly learning. I'm constantly taking courses and, learning new things. So, as a business leader, I think it's really important that we do set aside that amount of money or time to keep growing, learning, evolving. So I think it's really fascinating that as a woman, yes, you have the emotional and the intuitive part, but you're really into the business aspects, which I mean, some women are, but as a majority, I think we lack in that area.
Yeah, and that's actually the gap that I've seen, and kind of also self exploring myself. I can't get enough self exploration because I always say that know thyself. The more you know yourself, the more
Mhm.
you know exactly where to stay, where to position yourself, where you can create the biggest transformation, where you can give people the biggest results. And of course, your brand will build for itself, right? Because you have quality, you have a quality service, you have a quality product. So that's kind of what I've seen along the journey. But I think it's important to to also understand that we all have a unique path in life. My first book was called Connecting the Dots Backwards. And as I've grown my spirituality, also, I think we all come in, to this world equipped with different things, right? Some women are more dominant in the masculine energy thing, or in the feminine. For me, it was more in the masculine. I had to work on the feminine to align both energies because I think they're all, they're both very important and we all have them. And it's
Mm.
not a gender specific thing. But once you start to realize that inner work that you do to kind of discover your purpose, or start becoming aware, I think the more our awareness rises, the more we get to see or pay attention to the things that attract us, to the messages that attract us, to our inner talents that we start developing. And over the years, as an entrepreneur, I've discovered so many more things inside of me that I didn't even know were there, such as, my passion for writing. I used to write poems at 13, but I kind of stopped, developing that because life, I went on a different direction. And now, with the work I do, you kind of start to tap into different things inside of you. And at the end of the day, it's a beautiful way to express yourself and to be able to not obviously everything is going to be monetized. Find the one thing that you do so well for others, but let yourself be creative. Let yourself explore all these different things that are attracting you, because I find that nothing is I mean, when I look back in my life and connect, like I always love to do that, connect the dots between my past, my present, and now what I'm trying to bring into the future. Everything that has happened to me, it's almost like perfectly where it needed to be. Even the challenges that I cried over at that moment, when I look back, I'm like, whoa, I wouldn't change anything that happened to me, and things are always working out for me. So even when challenges come across, and I always say that the two biggest challenges that I think most of us can ever encounter is something health related or something permanent, which is the loss of a loved one. I think those are the hardest, but even those are there to teach us something. And obviously, somehow it's connected to your purpose. So figure out, once you overcome a lot of those challenges, how to use that now as a channel to help other people and use it for a bigger purpose, so to speak. But yeah, when I look back at my life, everything is like perfectly lined up the way that it needed to be, so I can become who I am right now. And I just trust that whatever's happening in the future is going to just play out the same way. I just need to stay curious, stay positive, being,
Yes.
ensure that I don't let those things kind of get me down or whatever. I mean, I'm not saying that every day is going to be perfect and we're only going to have positive emotion, because life is 50-50 anyway. Even when I had everything perfectly the way I wanted, I still felt negative emotion. So I think
Yeah.
it's like the other biggest lesson that I've learned is how to just let the negative feelings come through, feel our feelings, and then just raise our consciousness. Because the more conscious you could become, the more conscious your decisions become. And the more you self discover as to what are your true values, the more you make decisions aligned with those. And you're going
Right.
to be perfectly aligned in that path.
I when I hear the word perfection, I think of the word illusion, right? We What is perfect? Well, perfect is being content right here, right now, and vibrating that out, because when we put things out into the world, it comes back to us tenfold. And I truly believe that. I'm so glad you brought up the creative process, because that's one of my core values, that creativity, whether you're in business or, you know, an accountant or whatever, creativity really does cause huge, great healing neural pathways in the brain. And in fact, there's research out that shows those people in these type of roles that are creatives actually exceed in their fields more so than those that are just driven to work, work, work. And creativity is really what's helped me forge through the darkness to shine light. And when you said write a book, when I was in my 20s, I used to teach aerobics. And I'd get up there and I'd talk about, I had 3 kids, boom, 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 and they were always, causing havoc, and I'd get up there and share stories about the kids, and my senior aerobics class, "Oh my gosh, you should write a book. It was so good." And I never did. And I thought, that's just not me. And, you know, here it is, I don't know, a lot longer later. And I've participated in 2 best-selling books, The Creative Life book and Radical Self-Love. Radical self-love, I think, is just so important. And we think we have that down, but I'm here to tell you, I did like a timeline exercise, and the things that came up for me in that really highlighted the things that I need to work on for radical self-love. 'Cause we are bad,
Mm.
you know what, when
Never say never. It's another lesson I've learned from the school of life. Never say never. And something else about creativity, Dawn, because I also, for the longest, when I was working for my corporate company I was working for, Fortune 500 for 13 years. I never considered myself as creative because I had to use a lot of left brain functions in the position. It was like more executionary, like, okay, process oriented, goal oriented. So that was very developed. But when I came out as an entrepreneur, I started to tap into more of the right brain functions, of intuition and creativity. And then I started like seeing myself in developing all these different things. And I'm like, wow, we can actually develop this because I never thought I was creative, but we all are creative, obviously.
Yes.
We just
All of
haven't had the opportunity to do so. So like a book, taps helps you explore that side of you, or like speaking helps you explore that, or drawing, or now I actually even made a song and put, like, because I love to write poems about life, I will just, or even my life, that was my first song I did, call it a life song. Now I put music because I love music, or dance. Like, there's
yes.
all these elements that we have as humans that just pay attention to what you care about, because I tell you, it's inside of you. It's just waiting to come out. And
Yeah.
with that creative outlet, and you going through that process, it's amazing how many gifts we actually have inside of us. It's like, I think people are just jam packed with talents and we don't
Mhm.
even know them. And some people leave this world and they don't even discover that, right? So to
Mhm.
me, it's like fascinating to see how amazing humans are. So, yeah.
It's almost like when we are born and we're children, we have that wonder and we don't have all the things that block us off from the sunlight of the spirit. And really, I think as adults, it's less about adding knowledge and this, it's more about taking away all the junk, all the stuff that's preventing us from being our true authentic self and shining, you know? I mean, I think what I'm hearing you say, you were in this corporate position and obviously very successful, but it wasn't until you started this entrepreneur journey that you just really started to shine. Mhm.
Absolutely. And yeah, I think it's exactly, I actually think about that the same way. I'm like, oh my gosh, that's amazing how the older we get, because you would think like the older we get, yes, obviously we impart knowledge and we learn and grow and we want to feed our mind with information, all that good stuff. But it's really the inner work that makes us the happiest as individuals, is that inner work that we do with ourselves to unravel a lot of our limitations, a lot of our fears, a lot of our old stories, healed our traumas, and all of that. So we start to get to the core of who we actually are. And I think the process of evolving does that. That's why when you ask people, and when they're a little bit older, they're happier,
Yeah.
because if you've done that work, then I could see like this version of me now. I'm 39. I don't have a problem with sharing my age, but I'm happiest now, the happiest I've ever been when I compare myself to my 20s or even my 30s.
Mhm.
Um, so I think that's the process there, life process that we go through.
Wait till you hit 59.
I always say that I can't wait, because it's like there's so much wisdom that we embark.
Yeah.
And I think it's just, you just get more masterful over time, and you have so much more wisdom to just not even share in your own life, but with other people around you. And I just consider myself like good wine.
Yeah. I feel like it's
Better
like
every year.
yeah, seeking the light, right? The older we get, the more we realize what truly is important in life. The connections, the love, the stuff, it's nice. I'm not gonna negate that. I'd like to have nice things, but it's really about the quality of life. And I know that entrepreneurs, such as myself and you, we put in time for our businesses and our jobs, but it's different. It's something that comes from within and it really doesn't feel like work to me. it's something that I just love to do. I love sharing and rippling this out into the world, you know?
I know it's amazing what happens. Is that saying or quote I used to hear when I was sometimes very unhappy at my job as at the various roles about find work you love and you never work a day in your life, or find your life's purpose, or find something that wakes you up or comes from within you, and you wake up in no alarm clock. And it's weird. I mean, it's amazing to feel that this is the level that we get to be in as an entrepreneur, or people that have discovered that, because I don't think everybody's aligned with their work, unfortunately. But once you do discover that, it's a completely different life. I'm like, there's no difference between my business and my personal life. It's all one great party. And
Yeah.
I get to attend it daily, and I get to align the profit side, which for most people, that is the biggest challenge, because they might have discovered a lot of these other things, but now how do I actually monetize that? Because yeah, in the trade of in the marketing system out there in the world, I can't go to the store and just barter my gift for milk. I need money to be able to
Yes.
pay for that, right? So we do need to understand how to do the second piece. But just back to what you were saying, I think when you are so aligned, then it's like every day is like a big, even the challenges, you'll work through so many things, like, but I don't know what that their inner power and that fire just come from inside of you. And you
Mhm.
just keep at it, you just keep at it. Usually the problem becomes that you get burned out because you just love what you do and you can't stop, and there's
Mhm.
not enough hours in a day. That's another problem or side effect.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
How can people, I mean, I know you've talked about the life school, but can you give us a little bit more, what that's about? And do you tailor it mainly for women or is it for men? How long is it? I'd like to know a little bit more about that.
Yeah, thank you for asking. So 80% of I say people that are part of our community are women, and 20% men. And I love for those percentages to start evening out, because I do definitely feel like a lot of men are waking up, so to speak, consciousness. They're looking for more. They're doing their inner work. And now they also want to use the channel of entrepreneurship to build successful companies. Why not? That is maybe less driven by profit from what we have seen traditionally business was like, more led by their heart and their purpose. And they also want to know how to do the second part. So with the life school, we offer business programs, accelerators, and also I offer my private consulting, as well as a lot of passive products that I build over time, whether it's courses, programs, and even my books. My fifth book is going to come out on January 5th. It's called Purpose Driven Leader. And that one is also something that people can put their hands on. But that is what I have going on right now, with the vision of expansion. I'm always looking for impact, and how to actually be able to create more transformations with the work that we do. But for now, those are the ways that people can find our community, and also start to get behind the work that we do as well.
And that would they Google the lifeschool.com, or what's the website that they would find you on?
So we're working on the website for the life school, but they can find me as the brand and the face of the company, which is Elona Lopari coaching.com. And that's a small hub. We have a lot of the things that I talked about on the website, and also a few free resources for people to grab their hands on. Whether one of them is a free masterclass they can take to not only, once they have discovered their purpose, now how to align their profit, how to connect all those dots that I talked about at the beginning of our conversation, and also free marketing checklist on there. And I also have created recently a free ebook where I put in 50 of the most purposeful questions that are going to give you the biggest transformation to help you discover your purpose. So that's also on the website.
Yeah, and um I will have that linked in the show notes for people to find you as well. So,
Thank you.
yeah, this is awesome. I'm so excited, and I do see such a huge purpose for you, in the entrepreneur space to help people with some guideposts like you described. I really thank you for being on my show. If you have anything else to add, don't hesitate to add it now. And I look forward to talking to you in the future.
Thank you so much, Don. I'm looking forward to having you on our podcast, which is called the Life School Masterclass Show. And that's what I love to do there, to just invite so many other purpose driven people that lead with their heart and talk about their missions and the work that they do out there in the world while also serving the audience. So I'm excited to have you on. And thank you so much for having me on here and having such a great, intimate, great conversation, just perfectly from the heart. So I
Yes,
appreciate it. Thank you.
yes, it was great talking to you. Thanks for being here today. If my sound was a little weird, I don't know what was happening with my mic, but I apologize for that. Hopefully you made it through the show because Alani had some really good information. I believe her school of life is a breath of fresh air for any entrepreneur wanting to grow and evolve in their business. I have a couple other offers that I want to remind you of. If you're looking to start enlarging and growing your emotional empowerment, please download the free 11 affirmation journal. I'll have that in the show notes. Also, don't forget to pick up a free print of my Rooted in Faith collection. That is dawnboveprints.com. That's also in the show notes. And my biggest announcement is about the ripple experiment. We are going to be rippling out kindness into the world. And boy, doesn't the world need that right now. So please check out ripple.dawnreneebove.com and let's get started and change the world. I'll see you next week.